A stock photo agency doesn't have to feature hundreds of contributors. You can run your own, make it as large or small as you wish, and become known in the industry. Learn how a Chicago photographer helps fellow photographers sell their photos through his mini agency by sharing photo requests that he's unable to fill himself and makes a percentage of each sale. And also we'll feature a Canadian couple. They operate a stock photo agency in Ontario, and it has a single focus, agriculture, and all the photos in the agencies belong to them. Good. This afternoon I have with me a longtime stock photographer, Dennis Light. He works out of Chicago. Are you there, Dennis?
I am.
Oh, good.
Hello, Ron.
And how long have you been a stock photographer, Dennis?
Let's see. I think I've been doing it exclusively for about the past 10 years.
I've noticed that you're into a couple of specialties, plants and fitness, and it looks like Midwest life, that is outdoors and travel and leisure in the Midwest here. I was in conversation with you a few months ago, and you mentioned that you were going to expand part of your stock photography business by setting up what we might call a mini site, mini stock agency, I guess you would call it. And tell us about that. How'd you ever get that idea?
I guess that's a fair description to call it a mini agency. It seems that one photographer is always running into others, especially if I'm at a nature area or virtually anywhere, it seems. People are always coming up. They look at the gear you're using and assume that you're a pro, and they'll ask you that. Or if you see another who seems to fit the bill, then I'll ask him, do you do this professionally or what have you? And you just wind up getting into a conversation. For instance, this past spring, I met an older gentleman at our large arboretum in our suburbs, and we were shooting in the same area, and we got to talking. We were both using similar equipment.
I should interrupt here and say that you are in Chicago.
That's correct. Yeah, we were both shooting at this nature agency. He is, it turns out, a retired biology professor, as is his wife. He's been, since retirement, running in a photo studio. We got to talking about what I do and how I pursue stock, especially editorial stock photography. That interested him, so we did some corresponding. We've done a lot of phone calling. To make the story short, I forwarded some listings to him and got him his first publication. He remarked that he had never realized that he could market his photos, even though he's been doing this sort of thing for decades. It occurred to me that since I subscribe to the Photo Daily and other market letters, there are a number of listings that are not in areas of my specialty, but I know that some of these are in areas of his specialty. So we discussed it and asked if he'd be interested in submitting images through me after my approval. We would then take a share of the profits. In another instance, I had met a fellow who saw me photographing at the Wisconsin State Fair. He was interested in learning photography, so he became, although he's a full-time psychologist, he became a photo student of mine. We have, to make again a long story short, we have a similar arrangement in place where in each case we don't really overlap much on each other's areas of interest, but each of these gentlemen is producing marketable photos in areas that I am able to then look at the requests that come my way and begin to fill needs that on my own I couldn't possibly have filled.
Oh, I see. So you know the talents and the collection description of both of those, what would we call them, associates of yours? And
that sounds like a good term.
And you know the quality of their work, and you act as kind of a filter. And so if you see a listing in the Photo Daily or the Photo Letter, and you say, Mr. X, I bet he has this picture, especially since you do not have it. You give them a call, and is there or will there be a time problem delivery? Of course, in the Internet age, I guess we don't really have to worry about that, and the resolution, I suppose.
Well, that's something we're working on right at this point, making sure that they have each one has a fairly good catalog of their work so that they can pretty quickly address whether they have the images needed or not. Each one is alerted to the need to, initially at least, present roughly a 5x7 image at 72 dpi to send off to me, which I can then put onto a lightbox or submit by other means. So, yeah, these are things that we had to work out in advance to get a fair idea of what kind of time it was going to take because, of course, as you know, many of these images need to be supplied within a day or two.